Chapter 1. The Tongue of God. 10:41 p.m. Club Paradise, West Loop, Chicago. The velvet rope bowed for him like a red carpet unspooling in slow reverence. No ID, no pat-down, no exchange of words. Just a knowing nod from the bouncer, who pulled the cord aside and let the man they called Freak Nasty glide through, smooth as smoke, dangerous as fire. Inside, Club Paradise was a symphony of sins. Laser lights pulsed in time with the bass that throbbed like a shared heartbeat. Skin glittered beneath champagne mists, sweat, and perfume. The crowd didn't part for Freak Nasty. They leaned into him, like gravity bending to mass. Black button-up open just enough to frame the lion on his chest. Slacks tailored sharp enough to slice egos. A gold tongue ring peeked from his full-sized lips every time he smirked. And he always smirked. That ring was legend, not just for what it meant, but for what it did. The man walked like he owned the walls, the women, and every beat between the speakers. No one really knew who he was. They didn't ask. In Club Paradise, names were masks, legends were skin. But the truth, his name was Detective Cornelius Benson, CPD Homicide. And this was his shadow life. He didn't come here for drinks. He didn't come to unwind. He came for the fire that made him forget the ashes he lived with. And tonight, fire wore a backless dress and an accent you couldn't trace. She sat alone in VIP, legs crossed like sin, eyes like lullabies with claws. A French beauty with Moroccan cheekbones, the elegance of Chanel, and the posture of a killer. She didn't belong in paradise. She commanded it. She saw him before he sat. Or maybe she summoned him. "Vous êtes en retard," she whispered as he slid into the booth beside her. "You're late." He smiled with one corner of his mouth, gold tongue ring flashing like a blade under candlelight. "Beauty makes its own time," he said, voice silked in bourbon and promise. She didn't blink, didn't smile, just watched him as if he were prey disguised as a man. Her nails tapped her glass like a metronome, and when she leaned forward, her breath danced with jasmine and danger. "They call you Freak Nasty." That's what they whisper. Do you live up to it? Only if you speak in tongues. She laughed, low, dirty. Her legs uncrossed and recrossed in a movement that made 3 men across the room forget their own names. He leaned in, brushing his fingers across her thigh, pausing where the silk split like scripture down her hip. She didn't flinch, didn't stop him. "What's your name?" "Adrian." "Real or fake?" "Depends if you deserve it." He smirked. "Then say it again when you're begging." 11:12 p.m., VIP suite, above club floor. Their bodies collided like storms. He pinned her wrists above her head against the mirrored wall, and she spoke in French, gasping between vowels and verbs. Her voice rose like gospel in a room that smelled of sweat, sex, and spilled dom. He undressed her like a crime scene, slow, detailed, reverent. She wore nothing beneath the dress. She didn't need to. His mouth traveled her skin like a confession, and when his tongue met her thigh, she trembled like prophecy. "Oh mon Dieu," she whispered. "Oh my God." "No," he murmured against her. "Just his tongue." She shattered. They lost track of time, lost names, lost right and wrong. Only the sound of glass rattling on the side table kept them anchored to earth, and when she finally collapsed against his chest, breathless and drenched, she whispered something he wouldn't forget. "Your tongue is divine, like the tongue of God." He chuckled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Then consider yourself baptized." 8:06 a.m., Southside Chicago PD, Homicide Unit. Detective Cornelius Benson walked into the precinct wearing yesterday's swagger under a fresh suit, coffee in one hand, shoulder holster in place, badge clipped to his belt like a dare. Nobody asked where he'd been. They knew better. Benson got results. Clean collar record, tenacity like a wolf, eyes that didn't blink at bodies, only details. He wasn't the kind of man you questioned. He was the kind you cleared space for. "Benson, came the gravel tone of Lieutenant Maddox, stepping out of his office holding a file like it was radioactive. "Morning, LT. Don't get too comfortable, we got another one. Female, club scene. Found dumped in an alley off Ogden. Looks like she was tortured." Cornelius took the file, flipped it open. The photo stopped his breath. Adrian. Her eyes stared back, wide and empty. Her mouth was parted slightly, as if the last word she spoke still lingered. Her body had been posed carefully. She was naked, but not violated, except there it was, carved into her thigh, deep, ritualistic. Tongue of God. The words looked like they'd been etched by a hand that took its time. Cornelius felt the ground shift beneath him. He remembered her last whisper, remembered where his tongue had been, what she'd called him, like the tongue of God.